me 1 second. Okay, it's recording. All right, I think we can begin. I don't want to take too much time. My network, there's no delay, right?
No, it's okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's start with easy SNB. Okay. My slides are here. Just move this on to the top. Okay. Okay, so for today, what we're going to be doing is we'll go through the slides today. Then tomorrow, we're going to focus on the setups. So things like accounts, how to connect them to MetaTrader 4, and so on. I hope you'll be free tomorrow, same time maybe.
Yeah, I'll create sometime.
Okay, good. All right, we can begin. So the first strategy we're going to be looking at is called the easy SNB. This is actually the least effective strategy when it comes to this package. The reason why is because it's what I recommend beginners to start with. So it's pretty easy to execute. Okay, I'll explain why it's not the most effective strategy. I'll explain why. But anyway, this is considered to be an entry-level strategy. It's pretty easy to execute because it only requires one account when it comes to trading. Now, within that one account, our whole goal is to hedge the trade. Now, if you don't understand what hedging is, it's basically to be in a position where whichever direction the market goes will be on the safe side. Now, the way that we are going to be able to do that is by placing one buy stop and one sell stop. Buy stop, sell stops, these are just future trades that you're basically placing. When you place a buy stop or a sell stop, you're basically telling your broker to enter the trade for you later on. It's not there and then when you be live. I hope you're following.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so buy stops, sell stops, this is what we're going to be focusing on when it comes to the easiest end. So within that one account, we place in one buy stop and one sell stop. But before I continue, you're able to see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Clearly, do I need to zoom in? I don't need to zoom in?
No, it's okay.
Okay, all right then. Yeah, so buy stops, sell stops, this is what's going to be focused on when it comes to the easy SNB. By the way, SNB just stands for sell and buy, because our whole goal in this strategy is to hedge the trade. Now, the only way that that's possible is if we place a sell and a buy. So whichever direction price goes, will still be on the safe side. I hope that's clear.
Yeah, it is.
So for now, the only thing you need to memorize or understand is one buy stop, one sell stop. That's what we're going to be doing for the SNB. It should always be one buy and one sell. It should never be two buys or two sells or anything like that, because when it comes to exiting the trade, that might delay you because you have more positions to close. So it's best to just stick to one position of each. I hope that's not too difficult.
No, it's okay.
Okay, moving on. When it comes to the easy SNB, the reason why it's less effective is because when you're placing a buy and a sell, you'll be placing them 10 pips away from price's current position. Now, these 10 pips, this is the distance between the point you want to become live in the trade and where price currently is. So a broker is basically going to wait for price to move 10 pips before they go live for you. Now, in the process of them waiting, that makes the strategy less effective because as compared to the other strategy, you're going to be profiting off these 10 pips that are given away. So for this strategy, we're basically giving away 10 pips, then after then is when we become live in the trade and start making profit. I hope you've understood.
Yeah.
Yeah. For now, I don't expect you to know what a pip is. Just understand that it's a movement in price. I'll explain what pips are in the fourth slide. So don't worry about that. So for now, just memorize that. For the easy SMB, we place one buy stop and one sell stop. Then within those buy stops and sell stops, we place them 10 pips away. That's it for now. Do you have any questions for everyone?
No, everything is clear.
Okay. Moving on. Fundamental analysis. What do you understand by fundamental analysis? Have you done research before on this?
No, not really.
Also, it's the first time you're pretty much hearing about it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so fundamental analysis, it's basically when countries release reports on how their economies are doing. Now, for example, the first event here, CAD GDP. It's a Canadian event because of the currency here. This is Canadian dollars. So it's obviously happening in Canada. Now, during this event, the government of Canada is going to release a report that contains past records where how GDP is doing currently and predictions of how it's going to be in the future. Now, these reports that they release are what cause price to move because investors pour in more money. And as the result of them pouring money, the price hikes or it drops. So it could either go up or down when investors start buying the Canadian dollar. I hope you're following. I hope it's making sense anyway.
It is.
Pardon?
It is.
Yeah, so that's what a news event is. So it's just a time or a period of time when countries release economic reports to the public. Then the public's reaction to those economic reports is what causes the price to move. Now, as us fundamental analysis traders, those movements are what we try to trade because when you buy the currency at a low price and sell it at a higher price, we make money. That's how we make the money, basically. You buy things at a low price and sell them at a higher price. It's that easy. I hope it's not too complicated for you.
Nice. It sounds normal. Fine.
Yeah, it's just buying and selling. It's like shoes. You buy them at a cheap price and sell them at a higher price. We do the same thing, but with currencies and on our phones. So yeah, that's fine. That's what fundamental analysis is. So there's a list of events that we particularly choose to trade. This is the list. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 events when it comes to the EZSNB. So when you want to execute the EZSNB, this is the only list that you should be following when it comes to knowing what trades, what events trade, and so on. So any news event that's not among this list here, we basically consider it to be useless to us for the EZSNB at least. For this, I'll send it to you when this session is done so that you can be using it as a reference. But I would advise you to master the list itself so that you don't have to be pulling out the picture all the time. That's okay? I mean, there's only 7 after all. Yeah. Yeah, so this is the list. The SCAD GDP, GBP GDP, AUD interest rates, GBP PMI, AUD retail sales, Euro interest rates, GBP interest rates, and that's it for the EZSNB. Now, one thing I need to mention is, okay, you know what? I'll explain more on news events when we reach the slide for investing.com. This app just tells you when the events are going to be and what time exactly they're going to happen. So anyway, I'll dive into that when we reach the slide. So do you have any questions before we move on?
No, it's clear at this point.
Okay, all right. Moving on to the extreme SNB. This one is very interesting actually, although it's considered to be a bit mentally taxing than the easiest SNB. With this one, it requires 2 accounts to be managed at the same time. So for instance, if you've got an account with Hotforex and another one with just Forex, you'll be managing both those 2 accounts at the same time. You're following? I hope you know what just Forex and Hotforex are. They're just brokers that
The brokers?
for you. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so you'll be creating accounts with those 2. Then you'll be managing them side by side when it comes to the extreme SNB strategy. So moving on. It requires 2 accounts. Now, the goal with this strategy is to again hedge the trade. So whichever direction price goes will be on the safe side. Now, the way that we're going to be able to do that is by, in one account, we're going to place a buy. So for instance, in Hotforex, we're going to place a buy. Then in the other account, we're going to place the opposite type of trade. In this case, it will be a sell for just Forex. I hope you're following.
Yeah.
Yeah, so by us placing a buy and a sell, we're hedging the trade because whichever direction price goes will be on the safe side. That's why it's also called an SMB strategy. It's also sell and buy. So I'm buying and selling at the same time. Now, the only way that this is possible for these strategies is if there's two accounts. Otherwise, if you buy and sell in the same account, it's like you're canceling out both orders. I hope you're following. Because one position will be making profit, the other one will be making a loss, and they'll have equal amounts of activity, and it will be canceling out, basically. So the only way that it can work out is if in one account, you place a buy, then in another account,
Okay, I don't know if you
place
were
a sell.
talking or not, but I couldn't get what you were saying.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can get you now.
Is there a delay?
No, it's okay. You just went quiet.
Okay.
But
What point did I go quiet?
Okay, it's fine. We can just proceed.
I want to know how much you've missed out.
No, I heard the part for placing one order in another account and another in the other.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's basically how this strategy works. The only way that what makes it possible is if you do it in two separate accounts. Otherwise, if you do it within one single account, you basically be canceling out the profit because one position will have the same amount of profit and the other account, sorry, the same one position will have an equal amount of profit and the other position will have an equal amount in losses. So that cancels out everything. So the only way that makes it possible is if you do it in separate accounts. So for instance, if you've got like $100 you want to trade with, what you're going to be doing is you're going to split that $100 into two. So in one account, you're going to place $50. Then the other account, you're going to place the other $50, making it 50-50. Now the whole goal with the extreme SMB is to lose money in one account. Then in the other one, we're going to gain what we've lost plus much more on top. I hope you're following.
Yeah.
Now, in as much as if you do this in one account, it cancels out. The thing that makes it different with two accounts is that if we lose, let's say $50 in one account, our whole goal in the other account is to gain $50 plus much more on top. The only way this is possible is using leverage. Now, if an event moves very much, we can even triple the amount that we've lost because of leverage, how leverage works. In Forex, there's this thing called leverage, where a broker loans you money, then you can use that money to buy more currency. So off something like a $10 account, you can have the trading power of like $10,000. Now, since you've got more currency, you can be accumulating profit much quicker. Now, if you only have $50 to lose in one account, and in another account, you have another $50. Our goal is to lose the $50 in one account. Now, since the other account where I placed the opposite trades, it will be going with prices momentum. It will go past the $50 that we had deposited initially. Now, by it going past, that means we've made a profit on top of what we've currently lost. That's the whole goal. So our goal is to regain what we've lost plus much more on top. I hope you've understood. It's not that difficult anyway. You following?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes, I am.
Okay, if you have any questions, just let me know, okay?
Okay.
If I'm moving too fast, I don't mind going 2 slides. I don't mind at all.
Right.
All right, so that's how the extreme SMB works. So two accounts. Each account you place one buy. Sorry, not each account. In one account only, you place a buy. In the other account to place the opposite trade, in this case being a sell. Now, the way that what makes this strategy more effective than the easiest MB is because when you place a buy and a sell, we enter the trade there and then. If we go back to the slide for the easiest MB, we're telling our broker to enter the trade first after price moves 10 pips. So for a buy stop, your broker waits for price to increase by 10 pips. Then they enter the trade for you. That's when you need to be live. You'll be able to see your profits and losses fluctuate in real time. Now, the extreme, there's nothing like 10 pips here. The moment you click buy, will be in the trade live there and then. So the moment you click place, you'll be seeing your profits and losses start moving immediately. So the moment price moves due to the news event, we won't have to wait 10 pips before we become profitable. That's what makes this that's what makes this strategy more effective. Because assuming you trade with a lot size of 1, that means for each pip movement or for each movement price makes in pips, we make $10. Now, if price had moved 10 pips, that means we'd have made $100 more as compared to the easiest NB because of the 10 pips were given away. So yeah, that's what makes it more effective and more interesting to execute. I hope that's not too difficult to understand.
It's clear.
Yeah, so for now, the only two things you can remember is 2 accounts. That's what you need. Then in one account, you place a buy. Then in the other account, you place a sell. That's it. We can move on. Do you have any questions?
No.
Moving on. So just like the easiest NB had this list of news events, the extreme also has its own list of events, which is this. Now this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 events as well. So there's AUD GDP, there's NZ GDP, card employment change, card interest rates, USD NFP, USD Fed interest rates, and NZD interest rates. So this is the only list that you should follow when it comes to the extreme SNB. Now, the reason why it's different as compared to the easy SNB is because this list in particular, the events move more as compared to the easy SNB. Now, the reason why we save this list for the extreme SNB is because these events move quite a lot. Now, if they move quite a lot and you're sacrificing 10 pips, that means we are basically making a loss because of those 10 pips that we would have kept to ourselves, that would have been profit. So for this list, we particularly want to milk every single pip movement. That's why we choose to use the extreme SNB with it. I hope you have followed.
Yeah.
So I'll send you the whole slide when this lesson's over so that you can be using it as reference. We can move on?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Price. Before I dive into price, I first want to know how much research have you done on Forex when it comes to, before this lesson, how much research did you do?
I was quite caught up to this. So I just watched the previous video you sent.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's why I'm able to understand this a little bit faster.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, price. There's 2 types of price. Okay, not really. Okay, yeah, but think of it as there's 2 types of currency pairs that exist. So like this one here, Euro USD. This is a non-JPY pair. JPY is the Japanese currency. So if you see there's no Japanese currency, JPY in this case, anywhere here, that means it's a non-JPY pair. So Euro USD, there's no JPY, it's a non-JPY pair. But if a currency pair has got JPY either here or here, that means it's a JPY pair. That's one way of telling them apart. Another way of telling them apart is by looking at the actual price. Now, non-JPY pairs like this one are quoted in 5 decimal places, as you can see. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decimal places. For JPY pairs, they're quoted in 3 decimal places. So if I can just show you an example, this currency pair here, USD JPY. If you look at its price, it's quoted in 3 decimal places. There's a decimal point here, then there's 1, 2, 3. 3 decimal places. This one is a non-JPY pair. If you look at its price, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 decimal places. That's another way of telling them apart. You've understood?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, how to add pips? When it comes to adding and subtracting pips, or looking at pips in general, we always ignore the last decimal place here because that represents points, and points are too small for us to consider when it comes to pips. A point is just a fraction of a pip. So 10 of these make up 1 pip. But in general, it's just best to ignore it because they're too small for us to consider. So pips, they always begin from the second last decimal place. This one is the last. This one's the second last. That's where our focus is going to be because that's how pips begin. So if this one becomes a 3, that means the whole price has gone up by 2 pips because 3 minus 1, that's 2. So the whole price has gone up by 2 pips. If this 6 becomes a 7, that means the whole price has gone up by 10 pips. I hope you're following. I hope you've understood.
Yes, I have.
Yeah, so that's how you can be looking at it for non-JPY pairs. Then for JPY pairs, we do the same thing. We ignore the last decimal place here. Then our focus starts from the second last decimal place here, which is the 9. Now, if this 9 goes up by 1 pip, that means here it will become a 2 and the 9 will become a 0. But overall, the whole price has gone up by 1 pip. But if this one here becomes a 3, that means the whole price has gone up by 20 pips because 3 minus 1 again is equals to 2. And this didn't change, so it's going to be 0. So 20 over 20 pips. I hope that's not too complicated. It's basic mathematics. You're following?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Moving on. MetaTrader 4. Have you ever used this app before?
Yeah, I just downloaded it. I was exploring.
Oh, you did that today? Yesterday?
Yeah,
You did that today?
yesterday.
Yesterday. Okay. MetaTrader 4 is the app that will be used when it comes to placing these trades and seeing our deposits and everything to do with trading. This is the app that we'll be focusing on. So MetaTrader 4, when you first open it, you'll be brought here on the code section by default. Here's where you pick a currency pair that you want to be trading with. Now, these are the currency pairs, but sometimes they might not be a currency pair that you're looking for here. Now, to add it to this list on the home page, pretty much, you click this plus, then it's going to show you folders that you can look through. And in those folders, there'll be more currency pairs. So you just tap on it, then it's going to automatically be added here. So yeah, if you want a currency pair and it's not on the code section here, just click the plus, look through the folders, you tap on the one you want to add, and it will be added here. Moving on. The next part of MetaTrader 4 is the chart section. This part isn't really important to us because we don't really rely on charts when it comes to knowing when to enter and when to exit trades. We pretty much only use it to see how far price is moving in real time by looking at these two candlesticks here. So if we see it's elongating, that means price is moving in real time. If we see it shorten, same thing also. That means price is actively changing in real time. Now you could be using it to be seeing how far price goes, but it's like a time waster because instead of focusing here, you can be focusing on when to be closing your trade and so on. You following?
What you're trying to say is that this is not really important.
Exactly,
Hi,
yes.
Mama. Sorry, just a minute.
Okay, sure.
So yeah, I haven't forgotten what I was saying. Okay.
Okay,
you can go.
just give me 1 second. 1 second.
Okay.
Hello?
Sorry, I don't know if you are talking, but then I wasn't getting you now.
Pardon? Hello?
Pardon? I'm saying I can get you now. I couldn't get what you were saying earlier.
Oh, sorry, I was on a call. Okay, so yeah, basically what I was saying was
Okay.
this page is useless. I don't know why I spent too much time in explaining that. Anyway, it's useless for us. But if you want, you could be using it from time to time to be seeing price move in real time. We can move on. Hello?
The extreme SNB,
Mm-hmm.
not really considering the charts.
For both of them, even the easiest NB, it's not really that useful. Unless you just want to see price move in real time. Hello?
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me properly?
Yeah, I can get you.
Okay. I couldn't hear for a bit.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, we can move on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. With the chart here,
Mm-hmm.
just try to give an example for the easy SNB.
The
The
chart
extreme one is quite clear. I can try to apply. Yeah, just give an example.
using the
Like
chart.
where it is there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. You've seen this red line here.
Yeah.
Oh, just give me a second. Let me zoom in. This red line here, that
Yeah.
represents price. That's where price currently is, as well as this blue line here. That's where price currently is.
Yeah.
Now, Okay, we'll start with the sales stop. For a sales stop, let's say we want to enter the trade when price reaches this point here, 1.1756. In the sales stop and executing it, we're going to get this price here, and we're going to tell the broker that when price drops to this point here, that's when we want to start, that's when we want to go live in the trade. So your broker is going to wait for price to drop here, whether it's 1 hour or 50 minutes or 10 minutes or even 2 minutes. Your broker is going to wait for price to reach this point here before going live for you. So this candlestick, it's only until it elongates to this point before your broker executes the trade for you. I bet that's a better visualization of how it works.
Yeah, so you just put it anywhere you want.
Not anywhere. Specifically, if we go to the first slide, it's supposed to be 10 pips away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's don't put it anywhere. That's dangerous. It should always be 10 pips away.
Okay.
Yeah, so one buy stop, one sell stop, 10 pips away. So for a buy stop, it will be 10 pips above. So if we go back to the chart, it will be 10 pips above this current price here. So I'm going to be looking onwards, on top, up here. Since at this chart, I can't scroll up. So anyway, 10 pips above. Then for a sell stop, it will be 10 pips below this price here, which is the bid price. This one is the ask price, this one is the bid price. You're following?
Yeah, it's clear now.
Actually, while we're still on this chart here, we're going to try and execute the sell stop because I can't really execute the. Okay, you know what? Let's start the sell stop. I'll do the buy stop after. This is the price that one focus on when it comes to the sell stop. This price is called the bid price. Now, when it comes to subtracting the pips, like I said before, we ignore the last decimal place. Then our focus is going to start from the second last decimal place here. Now, this price here, if we add 10 pips to this price, that means the one, sorry, if we subtract, that means the one is going to be here and the 0 is going to be here. Now, if we subtract, the number is going to be 1.1759. You're following? That's 1.1759. Now, 1.1759, that's actually here. 1.1759. This point here, this is the point where a broker is going to wait for price to reach before they enter for you. So it's going to wait for this candlestick to drop to this point before they enter live for you. Then for a buy stop, it's the opposite. You'll be adding 10 pips to this. So ignore the last decimal place, then the 1 is going to be here and the 0 is going to be there. Then when you add, it's going to be 1.1781 this time, which is above here, above when you scroll on top. Yeah, so that's how the easiest end works. I hope that has made things easier for you to understand.
Okay, clear now.
Yeah. Do you have any more questions?
No, we can move.
Okay. Actually, no. This is the next part. The next part of MetaTrader 4 is this part here, the trade section. For me, I consider it to be the middle part. Now, this is the part that you're going to focus on the most because here is where you're able to see your profit and your losses show up in real time. Now, for the easiest MB, here under positions, a position is just a trade you've placed. So if there's one position, that means there's one trade. Don't get confused there. So under positions for the easiest MB, within one account, you see 2 positions. So there'll be one here and a second one here. So one will be for a sell stop, the other one will be for a buy stop. You're following? So 2 positions in total. You're following?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so here is where you're going to focus on the most because the moment you see your trades become profitable is when you're supposed to exit them. Now, if you're spending most of your time in the charts, you might not be there to see your positions become profitable in time. So your focus should be on this part of the app, so that the moment you see one of your positions goes live and becomes blue, blue means profitable, then red means loss. You're in a loss. So what you're going to be doing is when the event happens, one of them is going to get triggered. One of them is going to get live. Then the one that goes live, it will first start out in the red, in a loss because of the spread, or basically the commission that you're supposed to pay your broker. So it starts in red, then you're supposed to wait for it to turn blue. The moment it turns blue, you start closing your positions immediately. How you close the position is by sliding it to the side. Then this menu thing is going to show. Then you click the check button here. It will take you to another page where it will give you the option to close the trade here. Then you click close, then the position will be closed, just like that. So when you're done that process, you slide the other position, then you start closing it as well. You repeat the same steps. So you click on the check, you'll be taken to another page where there'll be a close button at the bottom here. You click on it, then it will also be closed as well. Now you only do this when you see blue around here, after the event happens. So if an event is at, let's say 13:30, at 13:30, when you see one has become active, or when you see one of them, the numbers start moving. Now, when the numbers start moving, it will first be in red because of the same commission. When those numbers turn blue, like it is right now, here it's blue, everywhere it's blue, and so on. There's no sight of red. So the moment it's blue everywhere, you start closing immediately. Following?
You're saying the moment it just turns blue, I start closing.
Yes, exactly. The reason why you don't wait for your profit to increase or anything like that is because when events happen, everyone is rushing to make a profit. Now, since everyone is rushing to make a profit, price spikes or dips very quickly. So by the time it turns blue, price has most likely reached its maximum height or maximum depth. So when you see blue, it's most likely reached its peak. And if you decide to wait longer, price might reverse and take away some of your profit. So from $1,000 profit, you find you now have $50, which is a bad thing. So the moment you see your positions turn blue, or you see blue everywhere, just start closing immediately. Just take what you're given. Otherwise, price might reverse and you might lose the same blue that you're seeing. Everything might turn red because price does reverse. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the easiest MB. Same with the extreme actually, except this time there'll only be one position. So in one account, there'll be one position like this. Then in the other account, there'll be one position as well, except this time to be the opposite type of trade. So here, if there's a sell, that means the other account is a buy. Now, if you see there's red here, just know that where you place the opposite trade, there's going to be profit, because here, if a sale is in red, that means the buy must be in profit, because they can't both be in red. One has to be above and the other one has to be below. So if you see there's red in the account that you're in, just switch to the other side. Don't worry about the same red account. Just switch to the other side. You will see blue automatically. And the moment you see blue, start closing immediately also. You're following?
Okay. I've got a question.
You've got what?
For us to make the profit, is it that we place only one? Because what if
One
we
trade?
get, let's say, what do you call those things? Okay, I'll ask when we reach that. I don't know what you call it. But the 0.01 thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's say you've
0.01.
got a profit of 0.
What's this
Yeah.
0.01 first?
Let's
Is
say
it the
you've
lot
got a
size? Is it
profit
price?
of okay, I'll ask when we reach there. I don't know what you
No,
call
no,
it,
go on.
but I'll ask when
Go on. Go on. Continue.
um
You're saying let's say we have a profit of what?
No, it's starting from the part where is it the lot size or whatever that thing that you change? You can have 0.1 or 0.01.
Yeah,
Or what do you
that's the
call
lot
that?
size. Yes, this can number here, this one.
Okay, say yes, that's the same one. So let's say the profit that you made there is just 0.01. It turns blue and you just have 0.01. So I have to close it.
Okay, this lot size is going to be stationary. That tells your broker how much currency to place, how to buy for you or sell for you. The numbers that are going to be changing are the ones that are hidden by this thing. Since that this trade is slid to the left. Otherwise, when it's normal, it shows some numbers here. Those are the ones that are going to be stationary if the trade is not live. But if the trade is live, that's the one that's going to be, those are the numbers that are going to be moving in real time. As well as this number here, the actual profit or loss of all your positions combined. They'll be moving in real time. Same thing with these numbers here also. So if they turn from red to blue, that's when you know it's time to close. Otherwise, if they're still red and the event has happened, just wait maybe 15 seconds. If they're still red, that means price has stopped moving. It's reached its maximum and it was a shit event. It wasn't that performing. So yeah, just close because don't expect it to keep moving. Otherwise, you might increase your losses from there on. You're following?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I hope that has answered your question.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any other question?
No.
Okay. Let me just make a call. Just give me 1 second.
Right.
Hello?
I can get you.
Okay. All right. So moving on. The next part of MetaTrader 4 is this part here, the history part. Now here it just shows you how your previous trades did, how much profit you made, how much losses you made, and it also shows you withdrawals that you make and so on. Then these two other options here, news and messages, they're useless. We don't use them, so just ignore them. So the only ones that are important here are these four here. But the most important amongst those four is this one here, because that's where you'll be able to see your profit and your loss in real time and your positions. So yeah, moving on. When it comes to placing a trade, like actually placing a trade, what we do first is come to the code section, which is here. Then we look at the currency that we want, the currency pair that we want to trade with. Now, for instance, if we want to trade this one here, USD CHF, you just tap on it, then it's going to show like a menu here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to click on trade. Then when you click on trade, it's going to bring you
Just a minute. Sorry.
Okay, sure.
Hello. Hello.
Hello? You're back? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can get you.
Okay. All right. So when it comes to placing a trade, we select the currency pair. So you can just tap on it. When you tap on it, it's going to show like a menu. Then in that menu, you click on trade. Now, when you click on trade, it's going to take you to this screen here. This is the part where you actually place your trades. Now, by default, it's going to show you instant execution here. This is the option that we'll be using when it comes to the extreme SMB. So by default, that's going to be there. They're not going to leave it like that. So instant execution, then we move on to the lot size here. Now, assuming you've calculated the lot size to be lot size 1.0 or 1.00, we're going to leave it like that. Now, after entering the lot size to be lot size 1, what we're going to do next is place the order. So there's only 3 things that we want to focus on for the extreme SMB. So we make sure it's instant execution here or market execution. Then the next thing is the lot size. Then the last thing is actually placing the orders now. So in the first account, we're going to put lot size 1. Then we're going to click on sell. Then after it's done placing the order, we switch to the other account. Then repeat the same steps all over again. Select the currency pair. You'll be taken to this part. By default, to also select instant execution for you or market in this case. Then we're going to maintain the same lot size, which is lot size 1.00. But this time, we're going to be clicking on buy instead of sell because we want the opposite type of trade from a sell, which will be a buy. So in this account, there'll be a buy. Then in the previous account, there's going to be a sell. Now, the most important thing is for you to place these trades, you're supposed to be placing them 1 minute before the news event happens. So for example, if you go to investing.com and they're showing that this event is starting at 14:30, at 14:29, that's when I'm going to start placing the buys and the sells. So you approximately have 30 seconds for each buy and each sell. So for placing a sell, that's 30 seconds. For placing a buy, that's 30 seconds, which is more than enough for you to execute only these 2 positions or place these 2 orders. You're following?
Yeah.
Yeah, so maximum 1 minute. It should never be beyond 1 minute. If you're able to do it within 10 seconds, that will help you out because you get to skip most of the spread increments brokers tend to make at the last minute. So yeah, just keep practicing until you can get your time down to as low as possible. Okay, so moving on to the easy SNB strategy. Now we're going to repeat some of the steps again. So in quote section, we select the currency pair to trade. So if we're trading this one, excuse me. Okay, so if we're trading this currency pair here, GBP USD, we're going to tap on it. It's going to be in the same menu, and we're going to click on trade again. Except this time, in the trade screen, we're going to be changing this option here. We don't want instant execution because that's going to make us enter the trade immediately. We click buy or sell, which is not what we want with the easiest SMB. So we click on that. Then it's going to show a drop-down menu like this. Then in the menu, we focus on the last 2 options here. So in this case, the buy stop and a sell stop. Those are the 2 options that we're going to be focusing on. So we'll start with the buy stop. So buy stop, you tap on it. Then it's going to take you to a similar screen, except this time we're not going to be focusing on 3 things. We're going to be focusing on 4 things this time. So here we're going to make sure it's buy stop. Then move on to the lot size. And if we calculate the lot size to be lot size 1.00, we leave it like that. Then we move on to price. Price is the point where we want our broker to enter the trade for us. So if if we place okay, let me say like this. For buy stop, we get the bigger number here minus these two numbers here. We get the bigger number. Then this number, we're going to add 10 pips from there. Now to get this number here, the bigger number, just click on the plus. So for buy stop, we always click on the plus to get the bigger number because that's what we want. So this bigger number, it's going to be dropped down here. Then from there, it's now going to be easier for us to add 10 pips because it will be stationary. Otherwise, when the market is open, you'll notice that these numbers fluctuate. They move very often. So it will be difficult for it to pick one number. So by you clicking the plus, it picks one number for you.
Just repeat that.
Pardon?
Repeat the last say.
Which part? For price or the lot size?
Explanation. Yeah. Yeah.
For lot size? Sorry, what do I repeat from lot size?
Oh.
For price?
Oh. Okay, just proceed.
Are you sure? I can start from the beginning if you want.
These people are just disturbing me, so I got lost. Like the last part you explained about I don't know if it was the pips or something. I was a little bit behind.
Okay, I'll start from. Okay, lot sizes. Lot size 1.00. We'll assume that's what we've calculated. Then moving on to the next thing, it's price. Now, for you to add the pips when it comes to price, we tap on the plus for buy stops only. For sell stops, we click the minus here. Now, since it's the buy stop, we click on the plus. Then what the plus does is it gets this bigger number here and drops it down here for you. The reason why I click the plus is because this number moves in real time. When the market is open, it moves, it changes value a lot. So it might be difficult for you to pick one from your head. Now by clicking on the plus, it picks one for you. Then it drops it down here for you. Then from there is where you now add and subtract the pips from. In this case, for a buy stop, that's where you're going to be adding from. So this number, since it's stationary in the screenshot here, that's what I'm going to be considering. Now, if I can zoom in, for us to add 10 pips, we're going to ignore the last decimal place, as always. Then we're going to place the 1 here and the 0 here. Then if we add, it's going to be 1.1781. You're following?
Yeah.
Okay, so 1.1781, that's what we place here. Or that's what we leave here, rather. Now, we're done with the price. The next thing we're going to be focusing on is actually placing the order. So like I said earlier, we focus on 4 things: the type of order, the lot size, the price, and then placing the order, which is 4 steps. So if you enter the lot size 1.00, then the price, which is 1.1781.
Sorry, just a minute.
Okay, sure.
Okay, we can proceed. said, can you get me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so you've understood everything, right? All the 4 steps. So buy stop, lot size, price, then you place the order, right? You've understood?
Yeah.
So after placing the order, we now move on to sell stop because we're done with buy stop. By the way, one thing I should mention, these 3 things here, stop loss, take profit, expiration, they are not important to us because we only have 30 seconds to execute everything else, every other option. Now, if we start calculating the stop loss, take profit, expiration, this might chew into our 30 seconds and delay us at the end. So we leave that out. We ignore these 3 options here. So when we're done placing the buy stop, we now move on to sell stop. Repeat the process all over again. At this time, when you place an order, you'll be taken to this part of the app, the trade section. Now from here, to place a sell stop, we're going to click on this plus icon here. That looks like a SIM card. Then we'll be taken to this part of the app. Then from here, we repeat the steps again. So we want to change this and make it a sell stop. So we tap there. The drop down menu is going to appear. Then the last option here, sell stop. That's what we're going to tap on. Then we'll be taken to this part of the app, which is similar to the buy stop. So just like the buy stop, 4 steps. So it's 1, 2, 3, and 4. So sell stop, we're done. We selected sell stop. Lot size, we maintain it as 1.00. It should always be the same as the buy stop. Now, assuming you've put the lot size to lot size 1.00, we now move on to price. Now, since this is a sell stop, we're not going to click the plus. We're going to click the minus this time. What the minus does is similar to the buy stops, except this time it gets the smaller number here. So it gets a smaller number, drops it down here for you. Then from there is now where you can subtract 10 pips from this number here. So ignore that number, put the 1 here, put the 0 here. Then the total price is going to be 1.1759. That's what we leave here as the price. That's when the broker is going to place the sell order for us. So after entering the price, in this case, it will be 1.1759. We now move on to place. Just like before, we ignore the stop loss, take profit, expiration. We ignore that. We go straight to place. Then when it's done placing, this is how it looks. Order is open. Then when you click on done, it's going to take you to this part of the app, the trade section. It's going to take you back here. Then from here is where you're going to see 2 positions available, or showing rather. So there'll be one for a sell stop and another one for a buy stop. You're following?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it for the easy SMB. So for each position, you have 30 seconds. So 30 seconds for a sell stop, 30 seconds for a buy stop. And that's pretty much it. So it should never be beyond 1 minute. It should always be 1 minute or below. So if you're, like I said before, if you're able to do it in like 10 seconds, all this, adding the pips, calculating the lot size, or entering the lot size rather, and placing the positions, all this is supposed to be done 1 minute before the news event happens. As you can see here, this was at 11:29. The sale was already placed. This was actually for the easiest end. That's why there's only one position here. There were 2 accounts. This one was a sale, the other one was a buy, and so on. This is why the profit was. No, actually, this was before the news event happened. Before the news event happened. So at this point, I was waiting for the events to happen, which was at 11:30, and so on. So yeah, that's how you execute the easy SMB and the extreme SMB. Do you have any questions for everyone?
How do you know a news event is about to happen?
Okay, that's a good question. That's actually the next slide. There's an app called investment.com. This is how it looks. So when you first open the application, it will bring you here, markets. Now, markets,
Sorry,
news.
what is it called?
It's called investing.com. I'll send you a link to it if you want at the end of the lesson. Yeah, so when you first open the app, it will bring you to this part here, markets. Markets, news, watch list, and more. These two options and these other two options, they're not important to us. We will not be focusing on calendars because calendars actually shows us when the news events are going to be happening. So it gives daily overviews and even weekly overviews. So you can see what events happened yesterday, what events are going to happen today, what events are going to happen tomorrow, and you can give you a weekly overview. So there's this week, and you can see what events are happening next week and so on. You following?
Okay.
Yeah, so it shows you news events, but when you first download this app, you need to filter it so it can only be showing you the high impact news events or the high moving news events. Now to filter it, just click on this Cafano icon here. Then you're going to uncheck low and medium. You're going to leave high impact checked only. By leaving high impact checked, it starts showing you events that move the most from there on. You're following? So just click the funnel icon, then uncheck low, which will be the first option. Then you uncheck medium, which will be the second option. Then you leave the third option, which will be high checked only. You're following?
Yeah.
Yeah, so investing.com. So it shows you the time when events happen. Then next to that, it also shows you the currencies plus the flag of the country where the event is happening. Then besides that, it shows you the actual details of the news event. So the name of the event, the actuals, and the predictions, and so on. Now, the three important things that we look at are the time, the currency, and the name of the currency, the name of the event, sorry. The predictions and stuff, that's not important to us. It's not really useful for us because it doesn't tell us, it doesn't control how we trade. We just know that when this event's happening at 14:30, we're going to trade it. Of course, according to the list of news events in the screenshots that I'll send. You're following?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, after filtering investing.com, you should create an account. Then it's automatically going to optimize or adjust these times to your local time zone. So this time you're seeing here, that's the Zambian time. So at 14:30, that's when the event is going to happen. But in actual fact, in the US, you find it's like 7 hours behind our time. But anyway, it adjusts your time zone. So you need to create an account after filtering it. Now, one important thing or one last thing that I should mention about investing.com is how to actually pick currency pairs when it comes to seeing the events happen or seeing the events overall. Now, assuming we want to trade this news event here, ECB publishes account of monetary policy meeting. It's happening in Europe at 14:30. Now, assuming we want to trade this news event, we know that's happening in Europe, so we're going to be dealing with a currency pair that has got euros in it, obviously. Now, how to pick a currency pair is by getting the currency of the news event, then you're going to pair it with USD. So for this currency, for this event here, we're going to be using Euro USD. Euros because it's happening in Europe. Then USD because USD is the most commonly used currency in the world. So you will most likely be seeing the most volatility with it. So Euro USD, that's what we use. Now, that's one way of picking a news event if a currency pair, if the event is not happening in the US. So this one, Euro USD, for this news event, which is happening in Australia, we'll be using AUD stroke USD, which is a currency pair. Then for events that are already happening in the US, they already have USD in there. How do we actually pick a currency pair? How we do that is by going to the code section in MetaTrader 4 or 5, if you're using an iPhone. We look at all the currency pairs that have got USD in there. This one has USD. Let me just zoom in. This one has USD. This one has USD. This one has USD. All these have USD. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 currency pairs that we could potentially use because they all have USD. You following? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Okay, I'm back now.
You're back now. Wait. Okay, so what do I repeat?
I said just a minute.
I didn't hear you. Your mic was muted.
The moment. Sorry. Just the time you got to this page from
The time I got to this page, the code section.
the time you got to this page.
Okay. Yeah, sure. But you've understood on how to pick currency pairs for events that happen in the US?
Yes.
Are you able to tell me what you've understood on how to pick currency pairs for events that are not happening in the US?
Let's say the thing is in Europe, the event is in Europe. You get that event and you pair it with the USD. If it's happening in Australia, you pair it with USD.
Okay. Yeah, that's how it is. It's very easy, right? It's easy picking a currency.
Yeah, making it sound.
Okay, now the next step is how to pick a currency pair if the event is already happening in the US, because there's already going to be USD. What you do is go to the code section, then you look at currency pairs that all have USD in them. Now, these 7 currency pairs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, we could all potentially use each of them. But that's not what we want. We only want one currency pair. Now, to pick one currency pair, or to start filtering rather, we now start looking at their spreads. This one has 19. Spread is the commission that you broke up, that you pay your broker for the trade, or for them to place your trade, or to be part of the trade rather. So spreads, this one is 19, this one's 20, 22, 27, 23, 37, 19. Yeah, so the least spread is what we want, because the lower the spread, the lower the commission that we pay to our broker. This one is 19 and this one's 19. So these two are our last 2 options amongst this list of 7 events, 7 currency pairs. Now, how we actually pick a currency pair amongst these 2 currency pairs is now by comparing the actual currency now. This one has euros, this one has Australian dollar. Now, obviously, euros is more widely used as compared to the Australian dollar. So this is the one I'm going to go for, because that's the one that we're going to see most movement happen. A lot of movement. It's going to move more than AUD USD. So yeah, for events that are happening in the US, we use Euro USD. You're following?
Yeah.
You've understood?
I am.
Okay. Are you able to repeat the steps on how to pick a currency pair for USD events?
Yes, but then I can't explain it right now, but I've understood.
You can't explain it right now.
But I've understood.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. If you're saying you're sure, then all right then. So yeah, that's pretty much the last thing. The remaining slides just show the app that I use to keep track of the seconds. The app is called Google Clock, but it's only available on Android. It's called Google Clock. It just shows the seconds to a news event. Yeah, it's got alarms, it's got a timer, stopwatch, and so on. It's a normal timing app, rather. It's a normal app for time. So yeah, I use it to keep track of the number of seconds left to a news event. But for you guys who are beginners, you can also be timing yourself on how long it takes for you to execute the trades and so on. So yeah, Google Clock Fair on an Android, you can download it and you can be using it as well. But it's not really a requirement. You can use any other app that shows seconds as well. Especially if you're on iPhone, you can use any other app that shows seconds. So yeah, that's pretty much done with the course. Do you have any questions overall?
That's all.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The other things are just not necessary for you to understand, for you to be able to place the trades.
For you to be able to place the trades.
Yeah.
Okay,
I hope
why
that
did
wasn't
you
too
make it
complicated
sound
for you.
easy?
Yeah.
Because
It's very easy.
it's not this easy.
It's very easy.
It's very easy. But the only thing that
And
you need
what
to be
about
doing
all
is
those funny,
practicing.
funny things
But the
that
only
we
thing
see on
that you
YouTube?
need to be doing is
Sorry, there's an echo. I can hear my voice.
practicing.
Is that from you or from me?
Maybe it's
Is that
because
from
of
you
the
or from me?
headset. I think it's from you.
I don't think so. It just happened. Like I wasn't hearing an echo this time. Hello?
You can still hear an echo.
No, I can't. It's gone. So yeah, it's everything's pretty much easy. The only thing that you need to be doing is
everything's pretty
okay,
much
the
easy.
echo is
The only
back
thing
now.
that you need to be doing is the echo is back now.
I
But
think
it's
you.
not me. I haven't changed anything.
I think it's
Are you
you.
sure?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know how to make it go away. I don't know what's causing it. Okay, but it's gone. I can't hear myself anymore. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can get you.
Okay. I think it's when you turn on your microphone. Okay.
Okay, so I'll
Anyway.
keep it off.
Yeah, you can keep it
Anyway.
off while I'm talking.
Yeah, I can keep it off while I'm talking.
Yeah, so it's pretty much easy. The only thing that you need to be doing is practicing on placing the buys and the sales because time is very important. The sooner you can place the buys and the sales, the better it will be for you. Same with the easiest NB. You just need to practice placing the buy stops and the sell stops because those are the ones that actually that contain calculations because you have to calculate the 10 pips that your broker will be looking at before placing the orders for you. So like before buy stops, you add 10 pips. Then for sell stops, you subtract 10 pips and so on. Otherwise, beyond that, everything is pretty much easy. Pretty easy to do.
Okay, so for you just use the fundamental analysis.
I trade technical analysis sometimes, but my favorite is fundamental analysis. If you follow me on Instagram, I post more.
If
you follow me on Instagram, find more content on fundamental analysis than technical analysis. So yeah, I like this more than technical analysis.
Yeah, I like this more than technical analysis.
It's way better, huh?
And it depends on your preference now. For me, yes, it's better for me because I get busy and stuff. It's pretty easy for me to just look at when the event's happening and only spend 5 minutes trading. And like studying charts, coming up with entry points and exit points, that's a bit more taxing for me. So yeah, I like this one more. But again, that depends on you.
And
This one sounds easy. You've made it sound easy.
It is, yeah.
It is.
But anyway, if you've got any more questions, just let me know, then I can set up another Zoom meeting for us to have. That's okay?
Okay.
For now, I don't have any questions. If I have questions, I'll text.
Okay. All right then. So let me just upload this to my YouTube channel, then I'll send you a link on WhatsApp.
Upload this to my YouTube channel, then
Plus the screenshots, I'll send those as well as the link.
All right.
Yeah. All right. It was good having you. You can have a good night.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.